Hi there, I'm CoinWeek Content Manager Charles Morgan, and I'm at the American Numismatic Association's World's Fair of Money in Rosemont, Illinois, where I'm in the Stack's Bowers lot viewing room, where collectors have come to look at tonight's auction lots. I'm fortunate enough to be present with Robert Galiette, collector par excellence of the $20 Liberty Head series. Robert has assembled one of the most thorough and complete collections of uncirculated $20 Liberty coins ever assembled. Although he is quick to note that no collector in the history of numismatics has ever completed this set, he has come the closest. Thank you, Robert, for joining me today. Tell us how you got started with your collection and what are 4 or 5 of your favorite coins that you put together in this set?
Oh, thank you, Charles, for that wonderful introduction. I had collected in my younger years. My mother bought me the first coin magazine I had around 1964, as well as a red book, a copy of Friedberg's. I sold the type collection that I had when I was younger, before third-party grading, and I wanted to come back into collecting in the 1990s. And I was attracted to the Liberty Head Double Eagle series, as well as the St. Gaudens $20 coins, because bullion prices had gone down in the 1990s. They hit a low of $260 to $280 an ounce. And it seemed to me that if you hunted for $20 coins and you were very careful, you could find some with very clean fields and that were aesthetically very pleasing in MS 61, 62, 63 holders, not many being known above that. And in the mid-1990s, there were collections being put together, even investment-oriented collections with investment houses looking for MS 65 grade and higher. And I thought here was a series of great historic significance going back to 1850 that could be selected with care.
So, no collector in the history of American numismatics has ever completed the series in uncirculated condition. How close did you come?
Well, I had 122 different mint state double eagles. So for the type 1 $20 gold pieces, I would have liked having more O mints. I only had the Bass 1852 O. I would have liked finding an 1859 Philadelphia mint. For type 2s, I had all of them in uncirculated condition, which was very difficult, except for the 71cc and the 72cc. And the 70cc not being known at this time in a graded holder. I was pleased that I was able to get all San Francisco mints in mint state, all the Civil War years in mint state. I only missed by one, finding in 1886. There are only 3 that are graded in mint state, and during the 20 years I was searching, I couldn't find any at auction or any privately. That would have given me a year set in mint state, and I hope as my collection is sold that someone will continue and perhaps be the first person to get a year set or hit some other of these milestones for Liberty Head Double Eagles in mint state.
Robert, was there a coin that you had the opportunity to buy but didn't quite acquire in your set? Was there a coin that got away?
There was an 1859 Philadelphia mint that a collector had, and it was supposed to be in a 61 holder, an MS 61 holder, and I had an image of it that was provided to me on the internet. And after discussing it with him for some time over the phone, I was going to have the coin sent to me. It looked a little rough, but then I thought maybe in person it was better. The price was rather high. As it turned out, someone else purchased it. I never had a chance to see it in hand. If I had gotten that one coin in hand, I would have had all of the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints from all the type 1 and type 2 years. So that was one that I think of that got away. There were others that got away too that I would have loved.
Robert, why do you think none of the great collections from American history ever had a complete set of Liberty Head $20 gold coins?
For some reason, when I studied them, they always looked at it as a bullion coin. And sometimes the Chapman brothers or Thomas Elder would remind people that even at the turn of the century, around 1900, 1910, there were copper coins that were selling for $50 or more each. but people would not look at $20 gold, even in the Great Bushnell collection, and consider collecting that series. As Dave Bowers had said, and as I've written, about 3/4 of the gold coming from California and going into the U.S. Mint was being coined into $20 gold pieces, but it just didn't have the recognition at a time when an average day's wages, a good wage, would be $1 or so a day. $1.50 to $1.75 would have been a very high wage. So this was a coin that wasn't seen by most people on the East Coast and in the Midwest and California. They used it, but that wasn't seen in daily commerce. It would have represented for some people a day's wages. But nevertheless, in further response to your question, even people who put together great collections like the Bushnell collection, where the collection was worth about $12,000, where they were spending significant amounts of money for their time on other series, and especially with the Bushnell collection, he had first year of issue and high grades for $10 eagles, half eagles, quarter eagles, other denominations, but he didn't add between 1850 and his death in 1880, and even living in New York with the treasury there, and about 57 or 58 banks, Liberty had double eagle of that first year of other years.
Robert, what guidance would you give to collectors looking to buy a type coin in this very important historical series?
That's a wonderful question, Charles. First of all, just as Dave Bauer says, and I would say, buy what you like. First of all, see what you like. Maybe you like a mint state coin, maybe you like something that shows it was actually handled in circulation. If you buy a mint state coin, find one that fits your budget and that's meaningful to you. So fortunately, and what has always amazed me, is that you can buy a St. Gaudens or a Liberty Head double eagle for the common years, perhaps only $200 or $300 over melt value. So here's a coin you can have in hand, hold history in hand, that has a high content value. In the last 2 or 3 years, gold has varied from $1,300 to $1,800 to $1,900 an ounce. You have a century-old coin, great bullion value, great prospects for the future, and have it in mint state. Now, if you have a greater budget, I would say look for something that might have some special meaning for you. If it was a treasure coin, you could have a Central America coin, SS Central America from 1857. This was a coin that was exceedingly rare. You could count on the fingers of 1 or 2 hands how many existed in mint state prior to the deep sea recovery. Brother Jonathan and SS Republic are also treasure coins that you could have. Or you could take the approach I used to like to discuss with Dave Akers, who wrote so many wonderful books and had his whole professional career involved with gold coins, where in my collection, special meaning for me would be to take an 1868 Philadelphia coin in mint state and have it next to an 1868 San Francisco coin in mint state, where the highest grade would be a 62, MS62 level, or maybe that level plus 1 finer. When you have a coin like that and you have it in an aesthetically appealing condition, not the numerical grade, but are the fields clean, is the cheek clean, you can have a coin that will have the 4 wonderful attributes in the case of coming out of a great collection: pedigree, rarity, history, and beauty. When you have a coin, even if you're going to have one type coin, and you look for those great attributes, those 4, you'll have something that others will recognize as having desirability. You'll be happy when you take it out and look at it. And if the coin had such great appeal that it was love at first sight when you saw it, and you didn't have to labor over the decision should you purchase it or not, others who treasure the same type of collecting as you do are likely to have the same feeling. And when you show coins to others, or if it's time for you to sell at some point, you'll find that they share your interest. And I think if you're only going to have one coin, for a type collection, look for beauty, history, rarity, pedigree. You'll always be well advised if you have the budget for it. And at one final point, with my collection, I think the wonderful thing is we tried to assign pedigrees to the coins, where they came from. And being in the Gilded Age collection, there are later date coins, 1890s, early 1900s, that will sell for very little over a bullion value, and some of them have full-page illustrations in the Double Eagle book that Dave Bowers and I wrote. And I think that's another wonderful way to treasure a coin that's not at a high value, and you can look at that book and forever after it will have that recognition in that special publication that we worked on together.
Well, Robert, congratulations on assembling such a great set. Thank you for the story that you've told us, and congratulations on the book. I hope you have the best of luck tonight with this sale. Thank
you, Charles, and I hope others will pick up the challenge and the interest and the joy and take their collections farther than I did. And it'd give me great satisfaction to see that happen.
And thank you, Robert, and good luck tonight. We look forward to seeing the results of your historic sale. And I'm Charles Morgan, Content Manager at CoinWeek at the American Numismatic Association's World's Fair of Money in Rosemont, Illinois.